Hello everyone, and today we're back into another tier list. And today we're going to be ranking all of the Pixar animated films on this list. We have it ranked from the best, awesome, great, good, average, below average, and the worst Pixar film. We also have a tier here saying haven't watched. There's a couple of these which I have not watched yet, so I can't properly rank them if I haven't watched them. So yeah. And also, Lightyear isn't on the list. One, there's a couple of reasons. One, I haven't watched it. Two, and it's not on any of the tier lists I looked at. So, unfortunately, we have to rank Lightyear another day. So, yeah. So, that is something we're going to have to rank another day. We have all of them. But other than that, from Toy Story all the way to Turning Red, we have the rest of the gang. So, let's start with this tier list. This is going to be very, very interesting. Let's start off with the OG, Toy Story. This is one of the first Pixar animated films, and even though it's a movie made so long ago, the animation, it still holds up today, which is insane. It's weird though, like, if you watch a Toy Story 3 or Toy Story 4's animation compared to Toy Story 1's animation, you will notice the difference, but even then, if you just watch Toy Story as a respected film, the animation still is well dated. It still looks nice. The environment is awesome. The story, I don't know about y'all. I think the story is meh. I don't think the story is as good compared to the other Toy Stories. I think Toy Story 2 is basically the better Toy Story. And I honestly think Toy Story 2 is the best one of the series. But the original Toy Story is legendary, and a lot of people love it because of it. I mean, it's good memories, and even then, the characters are awesome. The character development is great. Just life as a toy is just a very interesting. It's just very interesting topic to talk about. It's a reason why Pixar has made 4 Toy Stories. So for the original Toy Story, I would probably have, for being the first film, I I'm debating between great or awesome. And I'm gonna be debating. I'm gonna put it at great to start. I'm gonna see where all the other movies rank, and then I'll re-rank it. We'll see how that goes. A Bug's Life. Okay, I like A Bug's Life. I think it was okay. I don't think it was amazing, but I think it's a very underrated Pixar film. The story and the environment again was nailed, pretty much just like every other Pixar film. And also, the characters are very interesting. I really like the circus bugs. They were very interesting. And it had a couple dark moments, which I will not talk about that. Just watch the film and you'll know what I mean. But I don't think it keeps up compared to the original Toy Story. So I think it's only going to be in good. It's a good film, there's no doubt about that. But I think for Pixar standards, it is just average for Pixar, which for any other movie company is good. Yeah, I'm definitely being a little bit more critical on Pixar films because Pixar films are at the highest standards. They're like the highest standards of films, that and Marvel. So the standards of these films are a lot higher compared to a lot of other movie companies. Toy Story 2, awesome. The story is great, the animation looks good. I really like the idea of toy of the once again, just the life as a toy is a very interesting is very interesting. And also the little mid story with Jesse was very heartwarming and also very sad, knowing what a toy goes through once they're in storage. It's very, very, very tense moment. I really like the action at the end. The action at the end was definitely the highlight. Toy Story 2 it might be in contention for the best Pixar film. Now, let's get to Monsters Inc. Okay, Monsters Inc. is great. It's a great film. Everything is great about this film. The characters are great. I also really like the aspect of monsters being indoors and like scaring to get power. They rely on human screams to get power, which is just a very, very funny concept, but I really like it. The only reason it's not awesome, it doesn't have anything that pushes like Toy Story 2, but it's overall a great film. It's an amazing film, honestly. You can honestly put it in awesome, but I think it's in great. It's a great film. No flaws about it, honestly. Just overall a great film. Finding Nemo. Okay, this one's going in the awesome tier. I like Finding Nemo. The visuals took a step up. They like the environment. they nailed the environment on this film. And also, I really like some of the characters, like Marlin and Nemo and Dory, and like, and also the fish in the tanks. Like, I really like all those guys too. The fish friends, they are awesome. I forgot a lot of their names, but I really do like Finding Nemo. The story is very interesting. A parent, Marlin, is overprotective to his son Nemo, and he gets captured, and he would go, and Marlin risk his life across the ocean to save his son. It's a really heartwarming film. It's a really, really good film to watch with your family. It's a very good family film. I like it. And it's very heartwarming. That's the biggest positive Finding Nemo has, and that's what pushes it to the awesome tier. As for The Incredibles, okay. It might be, personally, the Incredibles franchise might be the favorite of franchises. I really love The Incredibles. Superheroes being banned because it causes damage? What? But I really like, it's a really interesting concept, and also, I really love all the jokes, I really love all the characters, and this is basically Pixar's Marvel, and it's awesome. I really love it, but of course it's better, of course the animation is more cartoony, and also a lot more kid-friendly compared to the Marvel films, but still, I love The Incredibles. There is nothing wrong with it, it's amazing, and it's probably better than the second film. I'll talk about why The Incredibles 1 is better than Incredibles 2, but we'll get to that in the future. Now, Cars. Cars, in my opinion, is average. Okay, this isn't just me hating on the Cars series. Again, I really like the animation, and I really like the characters from Cars. But I don't know. I think compared to the rest of the Pixar films, I don't know. I don't know why they made so many Cars movies. Why did they make so many Cars movies? I like the Cars shorts, but why did they make too many car films? I don't think the car films were as good as the other ones. Although Cars 1, I really do like arrogant Lightning McQueen. Very arrogant, and he gets humbled throughout the entire film. I think it's a very cool concept. I'm just not sure if it's great on Pixar. I don't know. Like, it's a good film. Once again, it's just an average in Pixar standards, but good in terms of regular films. Like, it's a good film. Very good film. Very good for the kids to watch, actually. But I don't know. There's just something that keeps it below Bug's Life for me. There's something about it. I don't know what it is. I do like its history of, like, Route 66 and the character development, and, like, I like that stuff about it. And it's odd because I'm a huge sports person. Well, even though I don't like racing as much, I'm a huge sports person, so I should be into this, but I don't know what it is. I don't think it's as memorable. I don't really remember too much of the plot outside of Lightning McQueen getting to Radiator Springs, and I watched this film a lot as a kid, so I don't know. I don't think it's as memorable, and also I just don't think it keeps up compared to Monsters, Inc., Toy Story, and Finding Nemo, and The Incredibles. Like, maybe the Bugs. Like, maybe I'm being a little too harsh. I might put it in good. I might be being a little harsh on Cars. I think Cars is good. I think they're around the same tier. I like that. I like that a lot better. I like Cars. I do like Cars for what it is, though. Now, these next 4 films are basically the peak of Pixar. These next 4 films are banger after banger after banger after banger. All of these 4 could be in the awesome tier. I think the first one might be in the great, but I think all 4 of these could be considered the top Pixar film of the series. I could see all 4 of these being up there. Ratatouille. Let's talk about Ratatouille. Love the story. The characters are very interesting. I love the environment, Paris. I also really like the characters again. Like Remy is a rat. You would not expect the rat to be a main character. This is when Pixar got really creative with their main characters. You have rats as main characters, and this eventually leads up to another film, which we'll talk about later. But Ratatouille is awesome. I really love its aspects on food. It has a lot of work put into it. The animation looks good. I think it's in the worst in terms of the awesome films so far, but I really do like Ratatouille. It's awesome. WALL-E, robots with emotions. Who would have thought? WALL-E might possibly be the best Pixar film ever made. I mean, robots having emotions for each other. Who would have thought that that would have made a great film? Humans leaving Earth. Obese humans. I heard a lot of people really don't like the fact that all the humans in the films on the Axiom are really thick. I don't think a lot of people like that as much. I don't know. I find it hilarious though that we've evolved ever since that robot. It pretty much is the distant reality that robots will take over the world. But Wally, I don't know what it is. The environment, probably the best of Pixar standards, and at least until we get to 2015. We'll talk about a couple of the 2015 films coming up, but Wally, really awesome. Love the story with Wally. It's crazy how interactive the robots are, like Wally and Eve and like Mo and like all the robots are without really saying that much. They don't have too much dialogue, but yet you understand what is going on. It's amazing. Pixar, this Wall-E might be the best Pixar film ever made. So, although we will definitely rank on which one the best Pixar film is after we rank all of them, like we do with every other tier list. Up, once again, a story of an old man, who had a dream and didn't follow it throughout his entire life until the very end, where he brought his house to, I think it's, was it Valley Falls? I forgot the name of the location. I think the only flaw with Up, I have one flaw with it. I don't really remember the story as much. I know a couple of the characters, like Carl Fredricksen, and also Russell, and also the bird. I forgot its name. I think that's the only flaw with Up. Everything else, the story is great, and also, of course, the concept, and also the beginning. The beginning is so sad. Probably one of the saddest moments of all Pixar films is at the start of it. Maybe other than Finding Nemo, now thinking about it, but still, very sad beginning, but I really love Up. The only flaw, the reason why it might not be as good as Wall-E or like Toy Story 2 or like Incredibles is because I don't think the characters are as memorable compared to the other films. I don't know what it is. I think it's just because it's way different with the characters like Carl Fredricksen. I think it's because they're harder to name. When like Remy the rat, or like Wally the robot, Woody the toy, Nemo and Marlin the fish. I think it's a hard name to roll off the tongue. So yeah, I think that's the reason why the characters aren't quite as memorable, at least in terms into the other films that are in the awesome tier. But it's still a great film. It definitely deserves to be in the awesome tier, just with the story and animation alone. Toy Story 3, awesome. Just as good as Toy Story 2. Does some stuff better. More action-packed scenes. I really love and also, it really increases the Toy Story more. I really like it. I don't think it's as good as Toy Story 2, but it's still great. I love the action-packed scenes. I really like the scenes where they sneak out of Sunnyside, the backstory of Lotso, and also just a couple subplots which are within the film, like Mrs. Potato Head missing her other eye throughout the entire film, and that's how they realize that Andy was missing them. And also the character development of Andy, how he's a college student who doesn't necessarily play with his toys, but he does have a warm spot on his toys. It's weird. It's a very weird concept, but it's so relatable, and I really like that with Toy Story 3. And yeah, that's why it's in the awesome tier. Now, that is the peak of Pixar. All of them in the awesome tier. And now, let's get back to reality. Cars 2. Okay. Everyone hates Cars 2. I know almost everyone hates Cars 2. I know that. But let's get some of the positives out of the way first. Let's get some of the positives out of the way. The characters are fine. I like the new spy characters, even though they come out of nowhere. And once again, just like every other Pixar film, the environment. I really love the locations. The locations are really well done. And some of the races can be kind of intense. But it should have not been made. Cars 2 should have been a series. It should have not been its own film. It should have been a short, kind of like the Mater shorts. I like the Mater shorts. But they should not have swapped the main characters around. They should have not had Mater as the main character and Lightning McQueen as a side character. They should have never done that from the very beginning, unless it was like a Cars short or a Cars series. A Cars movie should have Lightning McQueen as the main character. This is more like Cars 1.5 to me, not a full Cars 2. Putting it below average. It's not a horrible film. It might be the worst Pixar film, but it isn't bad. And not everything about it's bad. Like I said, the environments are good, some of the characters are alright, and the story is meh. It's meh. But yeah, I think it's below average. Now let's get to Brave. No, I haven't watched Brave. I haven't watched it. So I can't properly rank it, unfortunately, which I'm kind of sad about. I can't properly rank Brave, although I did watch a couple of the clips. The environment is really well done. I really like the theme. The theme of where the environment is taking place is nice. And also, the main character is very interesting. But I haven't watched it. I can't properly rank it. So, I can't. It has to be in haven't watched. So, that's unfortunate. Okay. I like how a lot of people talk about... I like how a lot of people talk about how rough Cars 2 is, but just completely brushes off Monster University. This is bad. I don't like Monsters University. I don't like it. I don't like Monsters University. Monsters Inc. is good. Monsters University isn't. I don't know what it is. They completely swapped Sully's and Mike Wazowski's characters around. Mike Wazowski was the smart one, and James P. Sullivan is the clumsy one. Why did they do that? I don't know. I do like the backstory of Mike Wazowski and becoming a scarer. I think it's a very interesting backstory, but the only pro it has is that it captures the college environment very well. And also the animation, just like every other Pixar film on the list, it's below average. But the story is just meh, and also the characters from the second film are not quite as memorable as the first one. Yeah, Monsters University is probably in contention for the worst Pixar film. Honestly, it could be either of these two. We'll see, though. We'll see once we get later down the list. So yeah, we got a couple duds in the middle. And this is when they started making sequels. But now, let's get back to original films. Because this next film, Inside Out. Awesome. The first awesome tier game movie, not game, movie since their peak. I adore the concept. The animation in this film is top notch. And also, the next movie after this has amazing animation. We'll get to that later. I love the characters. I love the emotions. Joy, disgust, sadness, anger, and I think it's fear. Is it fear? I forgot the other one, but all the emotions are so memorable and have a key role within the character, and all of them makes up one character, Riley. I really love the concept of this film of emotions, and I really love the adventure and the twist and the sad turns that take. I really love the concept. This might be the film with the best concept. And even though there are some flaws, like some of the plot holes, there are a lot of plot holes in this film. The concept, I absolutely adore. The characters, probably some of the best in the series. And also the animation's top notch. Inside Out is definitely one of the best Pixar films in this modern generation. Now let's get to The Good Dinosaur. And I watched this, thankfully. A lot of people say that this is probably the most disappointing film. And I'm half and half on it. I'm half and half. I'm going to rank it an average. Let's talk about the pros. Some of the characters, I think the dinosaur is interesting. The kid, but again, they're not that memorable. That's the biggest flaw. They're not really memorable characters. But the biggest pro is, of course, the animation. And I know what you're thinking. You said that with Monsters University and Cars 2. But the animation was probably some of the best ever seen in this film. They nailed the animation. And also the story is somewhat interesting. But again, the reason why it's not as high as like Cars and like Monsters Inc. and like Toy Story is because, the story is just okay. You're comparing The Good Dinosaur as a Pixar film, not as an overall film. And I think it's alright. I think it's fine. I'm in the middle between liking and hating it. I think I'm in the middle. I'm alright with it, but it's definitely not a film I would not watch again. Although, it does have stunning animations. Now, Finding Dory. It's good. I like this is a sequel that they've done all right. A lot of people don't like Finding Dory, which is weird to me. I don't know why a lot of people don't like Finding Dory. I think it's because it's not as good as the Finding Nemo, which that I do agree with. I do agree with that. But I really do like how they but I do like how they sympathize the story around Dory while not like I guess you could also say you swap the main characters around like like you swap the main characters around from Merlin to like not Marlin, not Merlin, Josh, Marlin to Dory could be considered a flaw, but I do like the backstories with Dory more than I do with Mike Wazowski with Monsters University and Mater with Cars. I think Dory was a very interesting character in the first film, and it having its own film I think worked. And there's a lot of heartwarming moments, just like the first one. That has not changed. They still have a solid story. It still has the heartwarming moments as the original film. And even though the main character has changed, it shows a lot of character development with them, all of them. And I really like that. That's why it's in good. Reason why it's not in great and awesome, not quite as good as the first film, but it's still a good film. I like it. As a standalone film, I think it's good. If you're comparing it to Finding Nemo, I think it is definitely the worst of the two. Cars 3. Now, Cars 3, just like Finding Dory, is split. Some people like it, some people hate it. And I'm on the side of liking it. I like Cars 3. This is what Cars 2 should have been. And honestly, this might be the best Cars, in my opinion. It's really relatable. Like, new car goes on the block. Lightning McQueen tries to keep up with it, and it crashes. But since it's a car and not a human, older cars tend to break down. I really like the concept of this film, and also the best scene of all of Cars is this little scene with Mater and Lightning McQueen talking. I think they were talking about their next race or their final race, Lightning McQueen's last race, and he was talking with Mater. It was probably one of the most heartwarming scenes from the entire Cars franchise. Probably one of the best scenes in the entire film. And also the backstory with the characters. And I really like the new characters in this film, too. A lot better than the characters from Cars 2. So yeah, Cars 3 is in the good tier. I really like Cars 3. It's a good film. Coco. Awesome. It's so weird because you may look at this as a generic... You may look at this as a generic Pixar film, but The Land of the Dead. The Land of the Dead, amazing concept. Again, it's another Pixar film which nailed the animation and concepts. I really love the concept of The Land of the Dead. And also the plot twist within the film and the character development of Coco and his family. And also the fact that they were making shoes instead of listening to music. They hate music. I really love that backstory. It's very funny and I really like it because of it. This is also in contention for one of the best Pixar films. I really like Coco. It's a great film. It's in the awesome tier. Now, we're into Incredibles 2. And this is in the great tier. I like Incredibles 2 pretty much just as much as the first film. It pretty much has the same concepts as Incredibles to the first film. It's pretty much a follow-up. And I like that. I do like how they follow up the story, and it is pretty much just as good as the first film. Except... and this is in capital letters, one thing. The villain. I hate the villain in Incredibles 2. The Screenslaver was nowhere near as interesting as Syndrome from the first film. Nowhere near. There's almost no development. I hate the Screenslaver so much. I hate it. That's the reason it's in the great and not in awesome. Because of that one reason. And also maybe because it's not quite as charming as the first film, but I don't know. I haven't noticed that as much when watching between the two films, but yeah. That's the only reason it's in great and not in awesome. The Screenslaver sucks as a villain. I hate the villain. I hate the villain. I hate the villain. Everything else about it, though, is awesome. And that's why it's in great. Now, Toy Story 4. And are you ready for where I put this? Great. Not an awesome. There is one reason why, again, it's kind of, once again, it's a nitpick. It's a massive nitpick on why Toy Story 4 is not in the awesome tier. One reason. Why was this film made again? Toy Story 3 kind of had the perfect way to end a Toy Story series. A perfect ending. Look, I do like Toy Story 4. It's a great film. It's good to see Woody and Bo Peep's interactions. It goes deeper within the story, which is awesome. I do like that part. And also Woody not being played with is a kind of interesting concept and kind of hard, kind of jarring switch from when he was the main toy with Andy. When with Bonnie, Jesse was the main toy. Like, it's a very interesting concept to see, but again, it kind of repeats Toy Story 1's story with Buzz Lightyear getting played over with Woody. So yeah, I'm not really too sure about that. But I do like some of the twists at the end, and the characters are really well liked, and I do love the ending. I love the ending of Toy Story 4. And that's why it's in the great tier, despite a couple of the flaws that I mentioned. Onward, average. I don't even remember what even happened when I watched this film. I watched this film once, and I think it had a very interesting concept. All the mythical creatures losing their magic and living like normal humans is interesting. I just don't see that as a good concept as a Pixar film. And the characters are just not memorable at all. Not memorable at all. The characters are not memorable enough for me to even really care about the film. And even the animation just doesn't look as good compared to some of the other. The animation's alright. It's good. It's Pixar. You can tell it's Pixar, but I don't know. I don't think it's as good. I think it's average. It's an average film. It's average. It's down there with The Good Dinosaur. Now Soul. Soul is going in the great tier. Love it. I really love Soul. I really love the characters of Soul. I really like how it shows the development of your soul and how you become the character you are. Really, it's kind of like Inside Out's concepts a little bit. I really like that. And I do like its darker theme and darker tone compared to the other Pixar films. And it also gets really heartwarming at the end. I really do like the spot with the souls. It's very interesting. I like that. Although I don't think it's as good as a couple of the other awesome films, mainly because, again, I don't think the characters are quite as memorable. They're memorable, but I don't think they're quite as memorable. And also the story's a little off at times. And just like Inside Out has a lot of plot holes. So yeah, that's the reason why it is an awesome tier. I think it's better than these four, but yeah, I think it's in the lowest in the awesome tier. I think it's from the lowest of the awesome tier. Luca. I like Luca. Luca's in the awesome tier. I like Luca. Very interesting adventure from underwater. I really like how the thing I really like about Pixar is the fact that they reuse they reuse a lot of older concepts, like the underwater animation from not Toy Story. Toy Story doesn't exist underwater, Jock. But, like, the underwater animation from Finding Nemo and Finding Dory, and also the land. I really do like the land. The land looks really good. It kind of reminds me of... It's kind of a lighter tone of, like... It kind of reminds me of one of those towns from Ratatouille a bit, but during the day instead of, like, in the sunset. It's not Paris, I know, but, like... It gives me those vibes. I really like the animation in this film, and the characters are very interesting. I really like Luca. And I really like his friend. And the fact that they're trying to get a right. I really like and I kind of and I know that the plot kind of shifts a lot during the middle of the film. It goes from getting a bicycle to, to just I don't remember the story as much. It's been a while since I watched Luca. I watched it once, but it changed from getting a bicycle with Luca and his friend to actually to just winning with him, and I forgot the name of the girl. I forgot her name, but the plot. I think I could see how the plot twist in the middle can jar people the wrong way, but I think the animation's well done. The characters are nice, and also I just like Luca. Luca's a great film, very heartwarming and very good. And now I think we're about to reach the most controversial film on this list, Turning Red. Let me tell you my stories on Turning Red. This is the Pixar film I recently just watched on the plane. I watched this on the plane when going back from my trip. And I had very, very, very low expectations going into this film. I thought it was just going to be a cringy mess. It's about a 13-year-old girl named May who has had a life at school, being the typical teenager at school, and also being the perfect daughter of her mom. It's an interesting concept, but, she basically is the character of a typical teenager, and you will know what I mean if you go to high school. You will know what I mean. And I thought it was just going to be a cringy mess. I'm going to be honest. I had very low expectations going into this film. And when I watched the first 10 minutes of the film, I pretty much I thought it was going to be a snooze fest. I was going to be honest. And then Red Panda thing. And then Red Panda appeared. May becomes Red Panda. Everything changes. Everything changes. The story becomes very interesting. The fact they're trying to get money to go to a concert, but she also didn't want to reveal her panda, and also it became a very relatable film of releasing your beast, and I really love that concept. It's a concept that kind of came out of nowhere for me. I'm gonna be honest. I did not expect that to come out of this film. And also the ending. I'm not gonna tell you what the ending is because this is a film that just came out this year. But the ending is amazing. I really love the ending of the film, and also a lot of plot twists that come in the middle. I really love this film. This film is probably the biggest surprise, the biggest shocker on this list. But where do I put Turning Red compared to the other Pixar films? I'm debating between great or awesome. And if I was to rank it, it would be in great. It might be the best of the great films, though, with Toy Story. But this was definitely the biggest shocker. This one exceeded all my expectations. It became really relatable. I really liked Turning Red. A lot, actually. Apart from the first 10 minutes, but we don't talk about that. Okay. We ranked them all, except for Lightyear. I haven't watched Lightyear, so it'd be in the same tier as Brave, and haven't watched, so yeah. Alright. Now, which of these two, Cars 2 or Monsters University, is the worst Pixar film? Which one of these two are? I don't know, honestly. I'm split down the middle between these two. I'm gonna be honest. But if I was to pick one, it would be Monsters University. Cars 2 at least had very interesting concepts and very interesting animation, and the characters are at least memorable. I can remember the characters, and even though the story's lackluster, and even though the story was meh, it was good enough. It should have not been its own film, but it was good for what it was. Monsters University, though, just completely swapped the characters' personalities around. None of the characters really... There's no familiar characters from the original film to this one. It's just Mike Wazowski and James B. Sullivan. Once again, the only positive is that they captured the college atmosphere very well, but that's kind of it. This is definitely the worst Pixar film. Monsters University. And also a huge letdown compared to Monsters, Inc. So yeah. Monsters University is the worst Pixar film. Now, which one is the best Pixar film? And if I was to rank my top 5, this would be my top 5. It would be Toy Story 2, The Incredibles, WALL-E, Inside Out, and also Coco. These are the definitive top 5 Pixar movies in my eyes. Finding Nemo could also be up there. Up could also be up there. Luca could be up there. You know, I could see all these being up there, but even Ratatouille, even though I don't think it's as good. I don't know. A lot of people like Ratatouille, though, a lot. But I think these 5 are the best of the best Pixar films. If I was to pick one, I would have to do this. Number 5 would be Coco. Number 4 would be The Incredibles. Number 3 would be Inside Out. So number 2 would be Toy Story 2. And the best Pixar film is WALL-E. WALL-E is the best Pixar film of all time. And that is my tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed this tier list. I know this is a lot different compared to the other tier lists I made. And yeah, what is your favorite Pixar film? I would love to see what y'all opinions are on these films down below. If y'all want me to do more movies in the future, like Disney films, Marvel films, or like other stuff like sports teams, or like games, like video game franchises, it would be amazing to have more ideas for these tier lists. I love these kind of tier lists. Hope you guys enjoyed this tier list, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!